Hey everyone, welcome to the Fuji Show, episode number 11. My name is Lucas Acosta. I'm joined by Mr. Justin McGow here today. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween.
It is Halloween.
Token Brownie.
I can't wait.
Making its entrance. Yeah, I've been eyeballing it myself. Excited to, for this show specifically, last week was, Apple's MacBook Pro announcement.
Which everyone was waiting for.
Everyone.
Right? We had clients emailing us, asking us when it was.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a month late. I think it was like 6 months late. Yeah. The MacBook Pros hadn't gotten love in a long time. Yes, there were like Apple TV, announcements and so forth. Yeah. But really, I think for the purposes of this show, let's just jump right into the MacBook Pro. I think this announcement really sets the stage for Apple's MacBooks for the next several years. It also affects the price point of all the MacBooks and MacBook Pro, MacBook Airs, MacBook Pros for the next 12 months at least. Yeah. So depending on where you are and if you're going to buy one or not, or even if you're purchasing for an organization, I think it's worth just unpacking what was added, right? What's worthwhile here, and then what does that mean for the next time you go and buy a Mac. So
it should be fun.
Yeah. Lots to go over. So, new MacBook Pro, they have a 13-inch and a 15-inch size.
Yep.
And several models here to really dig into. But let's go over just kind of the overarching upgrades here, okay?
It's safe to say this is a complete redesign.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think of an iPhone 5S to an iPhone 6.
Yep.
The whole thing changed.
And Apple doesn't do this often.
Right.
And it's easy to look at the website and just, say, hey, it looks kind of similar to the old one.
Yeah.
My answer to that is how much can you change in a laptop, right?
Right.
But I'm excited to get my hands on it. I haven't seen one yet because they really have redesigned everything down to the ventilation system, the layout of the batteries. They actually removed some of the battery capacity because they're using more efficient processors now. Right. And it's also a smaller footprint by about, don't mark my words, it's around 20% volume that they have reduced on the MacBook.
Same screen size, smaller volume.
Right, which
is really cool.
Yeah, super cool. And I know sometimes there's beef on Apple's always trying to make things thinner. Why can't we get better battery life out of it? But here's one advantage of making things thinner is you make them lighter.
Yeah,
too.
Right.
When you've got there's so many few materials, I guess, in these devices. At a certain point, you just have to start removing material to make it lighter. Well,
yeah,
it sounds obvious, but
and also I think their end goal is that all-day battery life. Mm-hmm. And when you get all-day battery life, I think they're just going to hang out there for a bit.
Start axing stuff off. Yeah, to just as long as we can maintain that optimum battery life. So on that note, both the 13 and the 15-inch MacBook Pros have dropped by half a pound. Okay, which the MacBook Pro 13-inch is now the same weight as the previous MacBook Airs.
3 pounds.
13-inch. 3 pounds.
3 pounds.
I actually forget that. I'm excited to just pick it up.
And I love when they do round numbers like that.
Yeah.
Because the 15-inch, not to move ahead, the 15-inch is 4 pounds. So that's great.
Nice, easy decision.
3 pounds and 4 pounds.
So they've shrunken the form factor, made it lighter weight, larger trackpad.
Significantly larger trackpad.
Yeah, 100% larger
That's crazy.
On the 15-inch, and then around 40% larger on the 13-inch. Brand new speaker design with apparently better speakers. Mm-hmm. Retina display improvements. So brand new display technology that uses the new P3 wider color gamut. So I know creatives especially will like that. The reviews I've seen on that, I saw one review that got more into the specifics, who reviews a lot of Windows laptops as well, say this is the best display in the market that they've seen. So
that's cool.
Apple really was modest with that portion of it. It's apparently a fantastic display. It's also the brightness of the display is 500 nits. Most laptops are around the 300 nits level.
That's awesome.
So Apparently, it's so bright that the default, like indoors, will not be full brightness.
Wow.
So you really only might need that full brightness, either in a really well lit room or like outdoor use.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what else? Keyboard. What do you think about the new keyboard?
I like trying new keyboards anyway, so I think it's fun. I don't have to have a super clicky keyboard. I like the MacBook's keyboard, but it's neat to think that they continue to push the envelope and they redesigned that MacBook keyboard to feel more responsive, but still the distance is still really short. So
Right.
that's one of the things I can't wait to feel.
Yeah, and what I've seen is that it feels a little bit better than the MacBook, the MacBook, the super thin one that's most recent, but it's still very little travel.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I think it's just going to be kind of a polar thing, you know.
Yeah.
You're either going to deal with it, or you're going to love it.
Yeah,
you know?
if you like the big ones that are, the travel's really long and clicky, this will feel odd.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So super thin, all of these enhancements are in the name of thinness, and again, going back to my first point, lightness. Making it lighter. And so, go ahead.
yeah, I was lighter, thinner, smaller footprint. They showed a picture in the keynote of the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and then you put the new one on top of it, and you just see a huge section of the old one. And the MacBook Pros that we're using right here aren't large by any means.
No, not at all.
So
yeah, and then kind of the big news, the headlining news that we haven't touched on yet, is the new Touch Bar, which is replacing the function keys at the top of your keyboard.
right.
And the idea here, it actually reminded me a lot of when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone for the first time.
Okay.
When he pulled up current smartphones and said, look at all these buttons that current phones have. The problem with physical buttons is that they're always there, no matter what you're doing.
It's true.
They're physical buttons that you can't really modify. But with a touchscreen, you now have adaptive buttons.
Yeah.
And that was the whole selling point for the iPhone of like, let's get rid of the keyboard and just have an adaptable interface. And so that's what they've done with this F key strip of keyboard of buttons at the top of your keyboard. They've made it a touchscreen.
You would normally see the brightness up, brightness down, volume up, volume down, just so we're all on the same page. That's they have removed that whole line.
And when it first came out, I've got to be honest, I didn't know how gimmicky this was. I don't know if that was just me, but as they were going through the demos, and I've been reading a lot from the journalists who were there in person, being able to try out a lot of apps. I'm hearing nothing but good things about the Touch Bar.
And I think it's because it's not designed, it can be, but it's not strictly designed to be what a button. It's an escape button, and then sometimes it's a volume button. It's very interactive.
Right.
I mean, we saw demos where people were using it in their workflow to be productive.
Right, and one of them was a audio production.
Yeah.
Where timing is the most important part of it.
And he was using it for the timing of
right.
a loop.
So that tells me it was a good demo for what I think the point they were trying to make,
right.
that there's virtually no latency. It's going to be a very fast and responsive type of interface. And so overall, I'm hearing mostly good about it. The only detractors I'm hearing from it with reason is that they got rid of a key, an important key, and that's the escape key, which admittedly is going to take a little bit of habit change for me.
Yeah.
I don't realize how much I use the escape key, because the escape key doubles as cancel, when you're prompted with dialogues, or if you want to escape out of a full screen video. I'm probably hitting the escape key a lot throughout the day.
Do
you
you
use
really?
it?
I don't think that I do, but I'm about to find out.
Right.
So
We'll see. But again, from what I'm seeing, I think it's going to add a lot of neat interaction.
yeah.
It's brand new. Okay, and I'll go into that in a second. Is that enough of a reason to purchase
To switch. Yeah. To
a
upgrade.
new one? Okay?
Yeah.
So everything we've talked about is actually pretty awesome. They've rebuilt the MacBook Pro from the ground up.
Before you wrap up real fast,
Okay,
let's
yep.
just not forget Touch ID.
Thank you. Good one.
I think that's good. That's great.
Yep.
Security at Fuji, we really focus on security with our clients, and you just can't have enough. You really layer security. As many layers as you can get, the better. And I think this is a whole nother layer on a laptop. If you have a long password, and you can have a long password on your laptop, now you can just put your finger on there, and Touch ID is so quick now.
Mm-hmm. And it's proven its worth, its security with the iPhone over the last several years. It's proven that it is a secure mechanism to unlock your iPhone, in the enterprise. So I think it's going to be very welcome, in the marketplace. A couple of neat things about this MacBook Pro. First, with the Touch ID, you will now be able to use the Touch ID to log into another user. If another user, uses that same computer, whether it's someone at home or just at work, they can just touch that button and it logs right into their user. Pretty cool.
Awesome.
And then somewhat related, the new MacBook Pros won't need to be turned on. Okay, when they're in the off state, all you have to do is open up the laptop, and that turns it on. Kind of cool. Which Kevin reminded me of this morning, or not reminded, he told me that they've done away with the chime, the turn-on chime on the Macs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No chime.
that's a big one.
That's a first.
I love that chime.
Yeah, I like that chime.
I think they're taking what they've learned from the iPhone and the iPad, and they're just trying to do away. I think what they're trying to do. Steve Jobs has never liked power buttons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He wants to take the machine-ness, this out of a computer, and this is one step closer.
I'm just gonna let you know, for all the other Fuji people, I'm gonna make my own chime, and I'm just gonna hum it every time I turn the computer on because I'm not quite ready for that. So
Cool. I like this.
so just don't give me a really weird look.
Okay, cool. I'll try. Cool. Anything else on the Touch Bar?
I don't think so. No, it's
Cool.
great.
So all this is super good. They rebuilt the MacBook Pro from the ground up.
Yep.
Awesome machine. Not to mention that now the MacBook Pros come with all Thunderbolt 3 ports using the new USB-C adapters, right? So it's a powerhouse of a computer.
Yep.
We didn't even touch on the tech specs of it all, right?
Okay.
Like it's using Intel's latest gen processors, the Skylake processors. Finally, the previous MacBook Pros were like 2-year-old processors. Apple's using the latest SSD technology, the fastest RAM out there. It's the new speed of RAM is 2133 megahertz. So just blazing fast internals, brand new architecture. But what's I see is going to cause some friction here is the price.
Okay.
If you wanted all these new features, meaning the Touch Bar, that is now going to set you back at $17.99 for the entry-level price point for the 13-inch MacBook Pro, okay, with a Touch Bar. So what is that? A $300 premium.
Yeah.
To what has been sort of actually. No, there wasn't a $12.99.
There was a $12.99. Yeah, so $500.
Yeah. In other words, you used to be able to get a similar MacBook Pro between $12.99 and like $2,000, right? Just upgraded RAM, upgraded storage. But now you're missing out on a significant feature, that Touch Bar, if you're not going with that $17.99 model.
Right.
So there's a lot to say about that. There are some other models that I'll get into in a second. But I do want to, I guess, get on Apple's side for just a second and to justify that $17.99 model. This Touch Bar, it's been discovered over the weekend that it's basically using an Apple Watch display, an OLED display, okay, Apple Watch technology, with Apple's own chip. Apparently it's the same or very similar processor that's on your Apple Watch.
Wow. To
power that Touch Bar. Okay.
It's its own processor.
So it's an ARM-based processor that's working in conjunction with your Intel-based processor to power that Touch Bar. And the Touch ID is using, the same Secure Enclave chip that your watch or that your iPhone
Your phone
has
is
used in the past.
That's right.
So we're at the 15-minute mark now. I was surprised this was going to go this long, but it is.
You're always surprised every time. But
I am. Yes.
I love it.
So there is a lot of technology that's going into this. Is it $300, $500 worth of technology?
Yeah, it's a good question.
You know, that's debatable.
Yeah.
Will those prices come down in like a year? I think so, but who knows? That might be where Apple wants to start. Trying to encourage people to jump into the MacBook Pro. So we'll only see. You would have thought that if Apple really wanted to make this Touch Bar, widely adopted, that they would have brought it down to a more appealing price point.
Right.
But for now, anyway, it's a premium price.
Definitely.
Okay. However, there is the same MacBook Pro, latest generation, that's available at the $14.99 price point, without the Touch Bar.
Without the Touch Bar.
If you don't need the Touch Bar, maybe you're buying something strictly for work, or really you're doing a volume purchase where every $100 tier matters.
Yeah.
You can get this new redesigned MacBook Pro for $14.99. However, the $14.99 model, I want to let you know, it doesn't have the exact same processor. It's slightly slower. And it also uses the older generation RAM, 1866 megahertz RAM, and also a slightly older generation graphics card as well.
And no Touch Bar.
And no Touch Bar. So it's in Apple's marketing, it really seems like you're only missing out on the Touch Bar, but if you look deeper, the internals.
Yeah. Which is still a really fast machine.
Yep.
And you still get the advantages of the footprint and all that good stuff.
Yeah, the new design.
Yeah, the new design, so.
And everything.
So that'd be something to have a good conversation with.
Yeah, so like the nerd in me, it's unfortunate.
Right.
Like Apple has this pristine, brand new, redesigned MacBook Pro, yet they're putting older technology into it. So that, I don't know, doesn't sit too well.
Right.
But if I were to really sit in the shoes of like, hey, I have to buy 50 of these Macs, or even 10 of these Macs, 500 of these, can these get the job done for 3 to 4 years? Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be fast,
right.
And be able to take care of what you need to take care of. Now, one thing I did notice is that if you take the $14.99 model, here we go, I'm calling it up right now. That's on the next one. Never mind. So let me introduce the even lower price point MacBook Pro, which is $12.99. Apple is still selling their previous $12.99 MacBook Pro.
Yep.
For the exact same price, with even older technology.
Right.
And my only thinking there is that they're selling that for like really volume purchases for schools.
Yeah.
And so forth. And I was playing around with the configurations. If you price that out, if you just upgrade the storage from 128 to 256, you might as well get the
new
$14.99.
The $14.99 new.
It's the exact same price.
Interesting.
So weird. So yeah, basically, I don't know who's going to be buying the $12.99 model. Maybe if you only need it to like surf the web.
Yeah.
Right. But if any upgrades are going to go into that, might as well go that.
But then we should start talking about the MacBook then. You know?
Yeah.
If you're just surfing the web, maybe think about the MacBook. And
Yeah,
the MacBook Pro. So
that's true.
I don't know.
And the MacBook Airs, which Apple is still selling, they didn't touch. Okay.
Right.
Apple is still selling the MacBook Airs. Let me go back over to those price points. They do start at $999, which is nice. They did away with the 11-inch, by the way, last week. So you can get a 13-inch MacBook Air for $999. I would say go for that. Like you said, if you're only going to surf the web,
yeah,
just stick with
that's
that
even
one.
cheaper. Than, yeah.
And you don't get Retina display with the MacBook
That's
Air.
true.
So as you can see, it's caused a lot of like confusion on like, wow,
which one do I choose?
yeah, which one do you choose?
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, are you gonna get the new MacBook Pro?
Oh, I want to.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna wait till the next generation. I think I'm going to wait till next October probably.
Mhm.
This MacBook Pro, which is 2 years old, is just humming along for me.
Yeah.
Does great. I've got plenty of storage. It's nice and fast. I'm going to wait, but that's more just personal taste and to save up for the next one, I guess, or whatever.
Right.
But I see how if you're in the market
Mhm.
and you have, you've budgeted X amount for a great machine, this is the machine it's going to scream. Like, it's really fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm in the same boat. Like, as much as I want to get my hands on the
Yeah.
touch bar and just the whole new design,
Right.
lighter weight, which
Mhm.
would be nice. I'm in the middle of like my buying cycle right now. We have the same generation,
Yeah,
2
yeah.
years old, and it's not enough of a pull for me to spring for it.
Right.
Now, if you are in the market, I think it's a brilliant time to buy. These computers are fantastic, and so you just have to make up your own mind, And then as far as like bulk purchases go, it's a tough one between the touch bar or not. I see that's what's difficult for companies that are going to be buying a lot of these. It's hard for me to recommend the touch bar one unless they've got just a really big budget.
Yeah.
Because there may not be enough of a reason to spring for it.
Yeah, enough reason to spring to spend that much more.
At least right now. So if you're on the fence, the touch bar features may not be available for a lot of the apps you use. Like, they'll be available for Apple's apps, Keynote, Numbers, and Safari. But for most of the third-party apps you're going to be using,
Yeah.
it's going to take a while for developers to start using them. Sort of like when the first Retina MacBooks came out.
Yeah. They were a little bit more, but
yeah, and not every app or website was optimized for that
Exactly,
display. So it's
yeah.
going to take a little bit of time for developers to catch up here. One other little note that I think is worth mentioning out of last week, Apple has officially told, this was confirmed by The Verge, that they are no longer in the display game. I don't know if you saw this over the
no,
weekend.
I didn't.
Apple is no longer making displays, officially. And
Wow.
it's so bizarre to me because they've always made displays as far back as I can remember. Actually, always.
Mhm.
And what I mean by displays is standalone displays. So during the event last week, they mentioned, is it LG?
Right.
Right? An LG display that they recommend buying.
It's just like 5K, I think they said.
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
a 4K model and a 5K model.
Wow.
And it just so happens that LG is the manufacturer for their iMac displays.
I see.
So rumors have it that it's the exact same iMac display, but Apple just doesn't want to be in that game.
So for anyone asking, the Thunderbolt display that remember it used to use MagSafe. There's a transition. A MagSafe 1 adapter, and we would always say, "Oh, when's the next display coming out?" They're going to do a 5K just a display that you can hook in to a MacBook Pro or whatever it may be. It's not going to happen.
No more. So now
There you go.
they're recommending you go to LG. LG's starts at $699 for a 21.5 inch. See, it's the exact same size as the iMac.
Right.
But that one does not have speakers or an iSight camera,
Right.
or a FaceTime HD camera. So if you want both of those, you have to go with the 27-inch size, which is like $12.99.
Yeah.
So it gets up there. So Apple's out of the display game. We didn't even touch yet on all of the ports and changes that this new MacBook Pro is causing.
I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll give you my quick spiel about it.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic that Apple, twice in 2016 is really pushing the game forward, right? The iPhone 7 with no headphones.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, But it was time, right? This new MacBook Pro, it doesn't have any USB ports. It doesn't even have a MagSafe port on the side, what you normally charge a MacBook Pro with.
No Thunderbolt. Traditional Thunderbolt port.
The traditional Thunderbolt port, which was incredibly fast, they've gone away with that too. So there's 4 Thunderbolt 3, which is using that USB-C form factor. And that's what you're going to have to use. So on one side, I see where Apple's coming from. So much of today is wireless. They've really proven that with the MacBook. From throwing things up with with an Apple TV, to printing wireless is kind of the standard now. Yeah, I completely understand, but it's an interesting conversation that the pro version, professionals who are going to use this, they may be the people that plug things in the most.
Right.
And so your USB drives that you maybe just kind of have a clone backup to, or whatever it may be, they don't work. You're going to have to buy adapters.
Heck, the iPhones still aren't shipping with a USB-C cable.
What an interesting point.
So think about that.
Lightning to USB
C.
A.
Now they
Yeah.
sell one. Oh,
Yeah.
the current ones,
Yeah.
are USB-A.
Yeah.
So they sell a Lightning to USB-C for like $19, but it's
Yeah.
still not shipping with it.
When is that going to happen?
Exactly. So
Talk about
it's
some waves.
it's a weird time, and I agree with everything that Justin said. Like, it's affecting a lot of people, and I don't think that Apple is being smug about this. I don't think that they're
They're not trying to make that much money off adapters. You just can't say, oh, that's their business plan. Apple's trying to make millions off, so you'll buy adapters. That is not the game here.
In fact, I think they know that most people don't need adapters.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I mean,
Like to your point earlier, everything's wireless now.
So much is.
For a few of us, we're going to be buying
Yeah.
like 5 adapters at $30, $20 each, which is going to hurt.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, I think most people aren't buying adapters.
Most people won't. Right. It'll be cool to see the third-party manufacturers that sell drives and printers and such. It'll be interesting to see when they catch up, because like I have a hard drive that's just for video, right? I'm gonna either need to use an adapter, or I'm gonna wait till one comes out with Thunderbolt 3, and that'll be fun. But when is that? Too?
Yeah, so we're in a time of transition right now.
Exactly.
That's why, again, that's probably a reason why I'm not like really chomping at the bit to go and buy the new MacBook Pro. I think if you don't need to buy a new MacBook Pro, you might benefit a lot in just waiting for the next revision.
Yeah.
Maybe in a year from now is what, going by Apple's typical patterns. Because more of the ecosystem will be ready for it also. Your next iPhone will probably come with a USB-C cable.
Probably.
You can always buy one for $19. It won't break the bank. So we're in a point of transition. Apple made some bold changes here. Also, let's give a little tribute to the light up Apple logos on the back of our screen right here. That's gone off of the new MacBook Pros. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but I think the MacBook Pro that was announced last week is going to be the MacBook Pro that you see for the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
They were thinking about what do we want the world to look like in 5 years without sounding too like mushy gushy, right?
Yeah.
But what do we want it to look like? And you know what? Having one type of cable for everything is actually pretty awesome.
It's true.
But for right now, there's a lot of dongles and adapters that you're
Apple has been very bold this year. Mm-hmm. They're pushing the envelope. It's cool to see them say, we're not taking a backseat to this.
Yep.
The post-Jobs era. They're still pushing technology forward.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Absolutely.
Go for it. Somebody's
cool.
gonna do it.
So on that note, that reminded me, because we went so long on this podcast or YouTube show, if you're liking the content, but it's just a little bit too long to watch, check out our podcast. We're getting more and more downloads with that. My favorite podcast app is called Overcast. Super easy to use. It's actually free to download. So get it that way.
Yeah.
But let us know your comments, questions about the new MacBook Pros, any questions you have. I know one guy on our team, Jimmy here, already ordered his MacBook Pro. It's not going to get here for another month, I think.
December or something?
Yeah. Wow. But we're going to get our hands on them, and I'm sure we'll be using them with our clients that are getting, they've been waiting to make orders for a while now. So ask us your questions. Would love to hear from you, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Hey, thanks for watching. If you find value in these episodes, be sure to subscribe so you'll get notified every time a new one is released. Hey everyone, this is Lucas. And welcome to episode 11 of The Fuji Show. I've got a lot of fun.